Om. 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 Silent. Recollect what we were discussing last time, I think 2 weeks ago. Swami is saying that there was one aspect which Swami wants to emphasize, that for Bharatiyas, religion is an experience. And Swami goes on to say why Bharatiyas have this faith in God is not because of 3-4 things, Swami has mentioned, because others have seen or others have experienced of this. But there are people who live in Bharat, who have lived in the Bharat and who are even now they are living and they will also live, who through their own experience, they experience God everywhere. I think that's what was the topic. But everyone discussed about experiencing Swami, different experiences of Swami, and so on. Because I think everyone felt they should they can discuss that, so I left it. But my view is that Swami was not referring to something like that. And the reality is, even Swami's own devotees who say that they have had various experiences with Swami sometimes lose their own faith. There are people who have written books of their experiences and have given talks about their experience, and then they don't even believe in Swami. They turn against Swami. So those are not the experience which Swami is referring to in this paragraph, is my view. This Swami is referring to people like Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna, who saw Kali, as an experiential reality. They were experiencing them constantly. They were experiencing God just the same way they experience anyone else. And I think in the Prema Vahini, in the chapter where Swami is talking about Salokya, Swami says Mukhamukiga. That means they see God face to face. That kind of experience, there are people who have, and it is only because of such people's presence in this Bharat, Swami says, people believe in God. And because they're just their presence itself is sufficient that Bharatiyas have faith. And Bharat is great because of that. That's what I understand. Maybe we'll just read once more, and if there's anything we need to discuss. Or you don't have it, Kalyani? Sorry, I put you on this.
No, Uncle, I can get it. It's
Yeah.
just at the bottom.
Okay. I wanted to, I did not want to discourage the conversation the last time, so I just left it. But we had to be very, okay.
There is another fact that we have to pay attention to. More than all else, for Bharatiyas, religion means experience and nothing less. It is indeed pitiable that we very often forget this important fact. This secret must be imprinted on the heart of everyone. Only then can one be safe and secure. Not only this, it is not the way of thought of a Bharatiya to say that all things can be attained by self exertion. The Bharatiya knows that divine will is the basis of everything. Religious principles have to be practiced and their validity experienced. Listening to their exposition is of no use. Learning some one set of arguments and conclusions and repeating them parrot like are not enough. If they appeal to one's intellect and are proved by it as correct, that will not help at all. It must transform us. The reason why Bharatiyas posit God and declare that God is being and becoming is their experience, which is the highest proof. The declaration does not originate from the head, from the faculty of reason, the yukti, the cleverness. The forefathers asserted that there is the entity Atma in each, and that the Atma is but a speck of that universal Atma, for they had become aware of it deeply and without doubt. There were, in the past, thousands who had sought the experience and won it. Even today, such persons are not absent. In future, too, they will be present. It is a thirst that affects man. Unless he contemplates God and confronts him in bliss, unless he wins the awareness of the Atma that is his reality, man will be tormented by the thirst, the agony that he is lacking completeness.
Thank you very much, Kalyan. Okay, so I think one point which I thought I should.
Hello?
Yes, Auntie, please go ahead.
No. You want me to read Telugu?
Yeah, we read the Telugu, but we can again read once more. Like,
Okay, sorry.
yes, Auntie.
అన్నిటికన్నా మనము ముఖ్యముగా గమనింపవలసినది మరొకటి ఉన్నది.
In compared to everything, there's one thing which we have to pay attention to it as an important fact.
భారతదేశంలోని మనకు మతం అనగా అనుభూతి గాని అందుకు కొరపడినదేదియూ కాదు.
In Bharat, the land of Bharat, for us, religion means experience alone and nothing less than that.
ఈ ముఖ్య విషయమును ఎన్నోసార్లు మరచుట మిక్కిలి శోచనీయం.
This important principle, many times forgetting it is something which is to be feel sad about.
ఈ సూత్రమును ప్రతి ఒక్కరూ నమ్మవలెను.
This principle has to be believed by everyone.
అప్పుడే మీరు సురక్షితముగా ఉండగలరు.
Only then you will be able to exist with safely.
అంతేకాదు స్వయం కృషి వలనే అన్నియు సిద్ధించును అను సంకల్పము భారతీయులది కాదు.
Not only that, by our self-effort, everything is attained. Such thought is not the thought of a Bharatiya.
అన్నిటికీ భగవత్ కృప ఒకటి ఆధారముగా ఉన్నదను నమ్మకము భారతీయులది.
The belief of Bharatiyas is that for everything, the basis or the support is the grace of God.
మత భావములను అనుభూతము చేసుకొనవలెను.
The religious feelings have to be made one's own experience.
వినినంత మాత్రమున ఉపయోగం ఉండదు.
Just by listening, there will not be any use.
ఏదో ఒక సిద్ధాంతమును చిలుకల వలె పలుకుట నేర్చుకునినా చాలదు.
Just repeating something parrot-like, some principle or other, is not sufficient.
మన బుద్ధికి అది సమ్మతముగా ఉండినా చాలదు.
Just because it seems to seem right to our buddhi, our intellect, is not sufficient.
అది మనలో చేరిపోవలను.
That has to merge in us.
కావుననే ఈశ్వరుడు కలడనుటకు భారతీయులకు గల మహోత్కృష్ట నిదర్శనము.
Therefore, for Ishvara exists, this is the supreme inspirational proof of the Bharatiyas.
అది యుక్త సమ్మతంగా ఉండుట కాదు.
That's not due to some clever skill.
పూర్వపు కాలపు వారును ఇప్పటి కాలపు వారును అతనిని దర్శించిరి అనుట.
The people of the past, people of the present, they have seen that, they've seen it.
ఇన్ గాడ్. భారతీయులు ఆత్మ కలదని నమ్ముట,
For Bharatiyas to believe that there is Atman,
దాని ఉనికికి ప్రబల నిదర్శనములు ఉండుట చేత మాత్రమే కాదు.
because for its existence various proofs exist, that alone is not the case.
అందుకు ముఖ్యము భారతదేశములో అనేకులు తమ ఆత్మను అనుభూత మొనర్చుకున్న వారుండటే.
For this, importantly, in the Bharatiya country, there are many who have experientially understood their Atman.
బట్టి వారు పూర్వకాలమున వెనవేలు ఉండిరి.
In such people existed in many numbers in the past.
ఇప్పుడును అట్టివారు లేకపోలేదు.
Even now, such people are not absent.
భవిష్యత్తును కూడాను లేకపోరు.
In the future also, they will not be absent.
ఈశ్వర సాక్షాత్తును పడసిన గాని ఆత్మానుభూతిని అందిన గాని మానవుడు పూర్ణ కాజాలుడు.
If not for seeing the Lord face to face, indirectly, or having experienced it, one man cannot become complete.
అరుణ్,
Yes, Auntie.
this sentence, listening to their exposition is of no use. Learning some one set of arguments and conclusions and repeating them parrot-like are not enough.
Yes.
If they appeal to one's intellect and are approved by its correct, that
That's
will
also-
not occur.
Yes.
But it must transform us. Here in Telugu,
Swami is not talking about transformation.
that's what I
I
was.
understand. I think I understand. That's why. See,
Yeah.
Swami is basically saying they should be having sakshatkara. That means they should be able to experience God in person, in front of them, directly.
Hmm.
And then Swami says,
The reason why Bharati's posit God and declare that God is being and becoming is their
Okay.
experience, which is the highest proof. So apart,
Tama Atmanu, that means their own Atman, Anubhuta Monarchikondavaru. So that means they have experience and they have experienced their own Atman.
భారతీయులు ఆత్మ కలదని
See,
అనేకులు తమ ఆత్మను అనుభూత మొనర్చుకున్న వారుండటే.
yes, Attivaru. So Swami says, then some Ishvara Sakshatunu Badasina Gani Atmanubhuti Nandina Gani.
మానవుడు పూర్ణుడు
So Swami is saying we cannot become complete if we're missing these two, which is Atma Sakshat, that means in direct perception of God, experientially seeing God everywhere in front of them, and also experiencing their Atman. That is, such people, Swami says, have existed, will exist, and also exist now. So that is the experience. So experientially, they should be able to see God everywhere.
God everywhere.
They should be able to experience their own Atman. And it is not some textual knowledge, intellectual, knowledge. It seems intelligent, that is not the case, Swami says. And it is only because of such people the Bharatiyas believe in God. And that's what Swami says. And earlier on also what Swami has said, that, we should not think everything is attained by us, but God's grace is there. That is also mentioned. So that means, see, many times if something doesn't happen the way we want, we think, oh, how it didn't happen. See, Bharatiyas, the person who has seen God like that, he will never have even a question that, his
Existence. He can yeah. Actually, the only way how these realized persons, we can call them, అనేకులు తమ ఆత్మను అనుభూత మనర్చుకున్న వారుండటే. That means a realized person who knows that he is who finds the same Atman in everyone.
Yes.
He is that kind of person existed in the past, in the present, and they will exist in the future also. So they are, and unless and until they have got this Ishvara Sakshatkara, Atma Anubhuti.
Yes.
Until they get these two things, they
They
are
are not
not
full.
full.
Yeah. So basically, Swami is saying there are people who have experienced that. They have experienced themselves as Atman, and they have also experienced God in person, Sakshat. These two are essential. That is what Swami is talking about, the experience.
But I was just little baffled by this sentence. It must transform us.
I know that's
This
English, transform. People don't understand what is the transform. That's a problem. Because everyone says, oh, I became less angry. That means they have transformed. That is not the transformation Swami is talking about. Swami is saying you should realize that you are the Atman. So the reality is in Bharat, people have experientially understood the concept that they are Atman. And that is why Bharat is Bharat. And I think when we said experience, then we were talking about, oh, that experience of Swami, this experience of Swami. That is, somebody tells, but they have the experienced God in person at times, at all times. Number one, have the experience their own Atma, that they are Atman, have the experience. I think that's what Swami is referring to. And this is what Swami says every Bharatiya should believe and work towards.
So, for that matter, so many devotees, not only me, several devotees have expressed their experience, how they saw Swami, how they had interaction with Swami. They express it as their experience. That means it does not prove that they have realized that.
See, they have had experiences, but here the experience Swami is talking about is having that complete experience. Purnudu, complete. One has to be, have two things Swami has said. You should see God in person, number one, and you should know that you are Atman. So that means once you know that you are Atman, your life should be led as with that experience at all times. Such people exist in Bharat. And that's the experience Swami is referring to. Not, some sudden event, some event where I felt Swami's presence. Swami says, I think in Prema Vahini says, feeling Swami's presence is not an imagination. Salokyam, he says, I imagine that God is X-Fair is not mind thinking, Swami was there or something like that. Once you see Swami in person, that experience continues.
But it's very, very difficult to express this experience, what you're saying, the presence of Swami in our lives. We can't put it, it is inexpressible. We cannot express it in words. So the only way how we can do it is only through language.
Yes, yeah. But I think that's why Swami is saying the language of a person who is speaking should not come from the head.
Yeah, from heart.
It should be supported by their experience. That should be a continuous experience. So otherwise, it is not the experience which Swami is. This anubhuti, once you attain that anubhuti, it will never leave. So I think that's my understanding.
I don't know, this is a very controversial.
So that's why Swami is, that's why last sentence Swami says, you have to be Purna, and such Purna people are there in Bharat. Ishvara Sakshat,
Sakshatkara.
Sakshatkara, Anubhuti, Atma Anubhuti. That's the experience Swami is mentioning.
So to that stage, like Ramana Maharshi or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, until we reach that stage where they had the real experience of God, they may have reached that stage.
Yes, yes.
Ours is all that. He says something next.
Fleeting experiences.
Fleeting experiences.
Actually, there's a program, Fleeting Moments and something.
Yeah.
Yeah, fleeting moments, lasting memories, I think.
Fleeting moments, lasting memories.
But both of them are not experienced.
It's not experience, you mean?
They are not experience Swami is referring to.
Referring.
The experience Swami is referring to, not the fleeting moments and lasting memories. It's memory only. Memory means it's only in the head. That's my understanding.
No, even to bring it back to memory, even to bring it, express it in a particular way, we must have gone through that experience.
Yes. Yeah, but my thing is it Atmanubhuti? Is the question. That's all I'm saying. Because and only in the context of this writing of Swami,
And that
Swami is holding out a goal for all of us to strive. Realize that you are Atman and live a life continuously with that thought. And that thought will give you experience of God as a Sakshatkara.
And not only the next step, not only realizing yourself as Atman and recognize it the same Atman in everyone and dealing with that. That's also the next step. Not only realizing myself that I am Atman, but I should be able to recognize that divinity in everyone and deal with the day-to-day life, how we exchange our thoughts and our commitments with others. We should keep in our sight the same divinity exists in everyone.
Thank you, Auntie. Sorry, my son Auntie have been talking. I will just ask it.
No. I myself got little.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more discussion would be nice on that, because still I'm trying to understand that. So Auntie and brother, you can discuss further.
Yeah, so my point was, though this was what was Swami has said, last time or 2 weeks ago, we discussed about various experiences with Swami. People narrating those experiences. But I was saying those experiences are fine. But what Swami is referring to in this paragraph is Atmanubhuti and Ishvara Sakshatkara. That means there are people in Bharat who know that they are Atman, who experientially are living with that thought that I am the Atman. Number one, they also have God, they're perceiving God directly. Sakshatkar, I mean with their eyes. In Prema Vahini Swami said, Mukha Mukhiga, face to face. Such people exist. And because of that, belief in God is present in Bharat, and that is what Bharatiya religion is.
Arun, you have also seen Swami Mukhamukhi.
That is...
And you have also experienced Swami in several ways. But you did not express it in last retreat. You did not talk anything about that. But I talked and Premanush talked.
I just repeated what Swami said. That's all. I don't know anything else. No,
do you mean to say that all our blabberings were only...
No, I think, see, we can only speak from our own experience. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, which is also very valid and valuable, no doubt. But what I'm saying is, in this paragraph, what Swami is referring to are the people who have Atmanubhuti. That's all I wanted to say.
Maybe I have not reached that stage where, that Atmanubhuti or Sakshatkara. Sakshatkara, I have seen Swami with my own eyes. That is, as far as that one is concerned, I have seen Swami and I have had many occasions where I could converse with him. That experience will not go away from my memory.
Yes, yeah, that is a action that Swami will say, because of your sadhana for such many lifetimes, you have had it, a small glimpse. But even physically, when Swami is not there, we should be able to have sadhana.
We should be able to do it. Yeah. That even if I say that even Swami is physically absent, but still I feel his presence. If I say that, people will not believe me, then,
So the thing is, how do we know that we are having Sakshakara? I think we can ask that question. How can we all be sure that we have Sakshatkara of God?
He answers my prayers and he gives exact solution for any problem. So that from that I feel that I'm getting instructions from Swami.
Okay, so Auntie has said something. What about anyone else?
Yeah, you can ask others. I am talking.
Yeah, because I had to put people on the spot. I don't know to call out names, but others can share. How will we know that Swami, we are seeing Swami? Number one, how will we know that we are Atman? How will we, leave our others. How will we know? I think that's a question we have to ask. How will we know that we have Atma Anubhuti? How will we know that we have God's?
Ivani has gone through that, I think.
Yes, right, Satish.
Sorry, Ramana. Theoretical. So looking at Atma Anubhuti, so it's like if I am able to have the joy that I've had in Swami's physical presence, if I'm able to have that same joy in his omnipresence, I'm just trying to make it a little more tangible for myself as I talk through this. So even as I interact with people in day-to-day life, the way I deal with situations, everything is established with the fact that Swami is always with me, in me, above me, below me, around me, kind of a feeling. That to me, because God is love, live in love. That's what Swami would say. So for me, Atmanubhuti translates to Premanubhuti. Everything that we deal with in life is taken as coming from God as prasadam, taking it with the joy, independent of whether it is hardship, challenges, plus, minus, whatever it is, accept it with that and tread that path of experiencing that love within and without in whatever circumstance that we go to, which will actually essence both Atmanubhuti and Ishvara Sakshatkar. Because when I see, am I able to an extent, of course, this is more in treading that path, the way, since I've seen Swami physically, how would it be to essence that Swami in different circumstances of his omnipresence? That's what I would put it back as, because to what is beyond the senses and the mind cannot be described by the senses and the mind. So if I say I have Atmanubhuti, then I'm gone case, because now you're verbalizing something that is beyond the ken and understanding of the mind. So that is where I think when Ramakrishna Paramahamsa he gave that experience to Narendra, because how much ever he tells Narendra, Narendra will only try to understand it through his mind. But when he gave the experience, he knows what is Atmanubhuti. He knows what is Ishvara Sakshatkar. So basically living in that state of love and a selfless thing, which is always looking internally, but with a mindset of service to others, is what I would put it in words, but I'll stop here. Saraman.
Thank you very much, Satish. Okay, Sister Aruna, I think she can talk about her Atmanubhuti.
Brother, my experience of Swami is when always I can realize.
Sister, I'll just, when you say my, what my
My, in my based on my experience only. I don't know whether that is correct to say or that,
No,
but
I'm asking, are you talking about the body, the mind, or the Atma?
um, I would say in an Atma's point of view.
Okay, very good.
Okay, in that point of view, I have noticed some of the things is beyond my ability.
How can it be?
Huh?
But Atman, how can it be beyond your ability?
Atma, brother, Atma in your, it's a, so in a, in an Atmic way, you feel it.
Okay.
You'll say, in that perspective, in my mind, this is in body perspective, vidha, mind, and so things which I think this is my maximum, my ability. I know, but something beyond my limitation, something takes place on a Atmic way. I feel that it was taken care of by the Lord. So that's how I can, my experience with the Lord, that's how I see it. Then, because whatever in the body level or mind level, which is I cannot achieve something and cannot cognize or comprehend, that easily will take over, and then it's presented in my front of eyes. Then I can feel that and connect. That's how I can say.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you, Saira.
Sister Shivani, please.
Sairam, I don't know if it's Atma Anubhuti, but it's a good question when we say I was talking about the body or the Atma. But I'm just thinking, when Swami was in his physical form and we saw him, of course, that's an experience, having God, seeing God. And Atmanubhuti is, when you see him, the tears roll down and you're happy and you have no idea why you're happy when you're in Prashanti. You didn't win anything at a materialistic thing, but you are just happy and looking forward to have his darshan. I don't know. I just feel that's the connection. That's where you see it's not the body, it's not the mind. It is something which is connecting with him, and you are just happy for not materialist. I think that's how I see. Yes, the point is here. I think what I'm learning here is how we can be in the constantly connecting that Atma to Paramatma, right? So I think that's what, even from the retreat, that's there, that how can we constantly in connection with that experience. So
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Anyone else? What is Swami referring to? That was my question again. Ishvara Sakshatkara and Atmanupati. I think Sai Satish touched upon something. Because I think I will go back to what Sister Arana was saying. She was saying, my ability. I think when you say my ability, we are identifying with the body and saying the body's ability. Ideally, we should say we are the Atman, but the body in which this Atman is, that has limited ability, and that's all. So I understand Atman is unlimited, but it may be limited by the body in which it is, through which it is operating. So it will have a limit, but the thing is, it will say it's my body, the body which I am inhabiting, the ability of that is, see, that's why, when Swami generally talks about Mother Ishwarama, he will say the mother of this body. Mother of this body only, he will say. So he will say this body doesn't have this problem. This body is undergoing some challenges. He does not identify with the body. So I think that then I will go to, then a person who is identifying with Atman will never have any problem. Is not looking for any solution. And then Sai Satish said that joy will be there. The joy will be there because you are not worried about the limitations of the body or the mind or the challenges which the body is facing in its own existence. The Atman should not be affected. So my understanding is when you see God in front of you and you know that you are the Atman, you are not troubled by any physical or mental or challenges or afflictions because one is not those. That is the only thing. So there are people, like Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi, their bodies were ravaging with disease, but they were still unaffected. Yes, they cannot explain to them what their experience is, but the way they led their life, I think it gives a glimpse of, how a person who identifies with Atman is not affected by physical challenges, mental challenges, anything which happens in the world. They're not affected because they think, yes, this is part of life in this body, but these are limitations of the body, but I am the Atman. And such people will be able to also see God everywhere, because there, once you are seeing yourself as Atman, you will see everyone else as Atman also. And Swami says such people exist. So they will neither be troubled, they will be not worried, they will be not afraid. I think we were reading Upanishad Vahini. So, once you get tied up with all the Panjabhutas, then fear is the one which comes. Worried, oh, this will not happen. Fear, worry is also a type of fear. The challenge is nothing will phase us. And such people exist in Bharat. They do not confuse the body and the mind, and they are living in the Atmic world. Their bodies are also limited. They have limitations, but the bodies, but they do not identify with them. So that's what Swami wants us to get to. And that Swami says such people exist in Bharat. And because of that, Bharatiya says, that's my understanding. So I hope is, I think, food for thought for all of us, what we should strive for. I think I'll stop here. I know it seems far-fetched. Yes, Kalyani.
When Swami Singh, the Bharatiyas declared that God exists, the reason they make that declaration is because they themselves have experienced
They're
Atman.
seeing. No, they are basing their belief on the people who are already seeing God.
Oh no, so that's why I'm confused. So if somebody has realized God, then I thought Swami was saying earlier that it's not because somebody else has realized, but because they themselves have realized.
Yes.
That's why they're able to make that declaration. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the real Bharatiya, who is declaring that God exists, have that experience. There may be others relying on it, but just because the others are relying on does not mean God exists. I think there's a subtle difference. Swami is so from that you can see the real Bharatiya is one who has experience. The others are not Bharatiyas. Swami is going to that extent. So if you are considering yourself Bharatiya, you have to have Atma Anubhuti. Okay, to that extent, Swami has gone. Anyone else claiming that God is God, it doesn't matter. We should not rely on such people. So that's why Vivekananda, because he saw Ramakrishna, he became a devotee. Okay, because Ramakrishna stood for that experience. Ramana Maharshi stood for that. Swami has mentioned some of these people, and even great devotees like Meera and all of them, they also transcended their body and mind. Because by looking at them, people developed faith in God. And that's one. Number two, when such people are around, their presence actually creates godliness among people and faith in God among others people. So that is why Bharat is Bharat.
That is Sarupya stage. It should give, they should reflect that godliness in their behavior. So coming back to this Ishwaranubhuti, Ishwara Sakshatkara and Atmanubhuti, what you are basically what you are saying is that separation from the body consciousness and always constantly thinking about that Atman, that is Atma Sakshatkara, Atmanubhuti rather. And Ishwara Sakshatkara can be obtained. We give a shape and a form to the Lord. Lord has no shape, no form, nothing. But we are giving a particular, for example, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave Kali. He had given that form, and that form was impressed in his mind. And he always thought Kali is the God. So also we have our own form and this thing for ourselves. And that Constantly, if you are able to see that Lord in us, that is Ishvara Sakshatkara.
Yes, the in Swami is saying in, again I will go to Prema Vahini. Some chapter, Salokya, Swami says, once you have the Bhava Samadhi, that you have the Bhava of the Atmanubhava. When you have that, that will reflect on the world, wherever you see. When your eyes look at anything, that inner experience reflects outside. So you see that what outside also. That Swami says is Salokya.
Sorry.
Yes.
Auntie, you were saying about the Atma thing. We had to constantly think about it. Is that we had to think about it? That's the one I'm thinking of myself. You don't think, right?
Thinking is different, Aruna. Feeling, experiencing that Atman always. Seeing is personal. You're perceiving something with your eyes. It's not that.
Oh, okay.
Not that.
You don't think even, right?
No,
Why?
mind is also not working there. It's only Atmanubhuti.
Atmanubhuti for that.
Sister, once you are experiencing it at the Atmic level, the mind will also think, the eyes will also see. They are all influenced by the Atmanubhuti.
So it will think?
Yes, it will also think of God all the time. The eyes will also see God all the time. What you see, what you experience inside will be seen and heard, thought. Yes, Sai Satish.
Saramana, I was just going to take the example of the Gopikas. When they essenced Krishna, especially when they were separated after Lord Krishna left Vrindavan, everything they essenced on the outside was based on that of the inside. Everything that they saw outside, whether it was a creeper or a tree or the mountain, anything and everything, it only helped them to connect to Krishna or showed itself as Krishna. So I think essencing how Radha or the Gopikas looked at everything external as Salokyam because they were so deeply connected on the Salokyam on the inside is another example to understand Atmanubhuti or Ishvara Sakshatkar, because everything on the outside just appeared as Krishna, Krishna and Krishna alone. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Nandalala.
So you look at a crow and you see, oh, that's Krishna's color. You look at a tree, then you see Krishna. So you're reminded of Krishna. The mind right away thinks of Krishna only because at the Atmic level, they are merged with Krishna.
Brother, that is thinking or experiencing. Thinking is something, right? You can think, but
thinking is not independent of experience, sister. That thought is not independent of the experience. So, for example, we are upset with somebody. Whatever they say, the mind will say, oh no, this is the reason. It will feed on that. Mind is always functioning like that. And your eyes also will see only those defects. Okay. Eyes will see only what is coming from within. You will not see anything else. If somebody is bad, if that thought comes, before the thought comes, our experience has been bad with somebody. Okay. So then the thought also will be there. The eyes also will see that. So ultimately, experience is what drives even our thoughts or what we see with our eyes. Okay.
I think, Aruna, and his question maybe because in the past we've talked about how like someone who's a jnani, it's this level that's beyond the mind.
Yes.
But is it correct to say that, though they, the Atma Anubhuti, that experience is beyond the mind, but when they're expressing externally in this external world, from that experience, they express something through their mind and through their eyes. So that state is still beyond the mind, but when it's expressed in the external world, it expresses in a certain way through the mind.
Yeah, so the mind becomes an instrument when we are in control of it. It will only think what you want it to think. Okay, so if you are in Atmanubhuti state, the mind is under control at that point in time. It doesn't have an independent functioning at that point in time. So it will only think what your inner experiences. So when the instrument of mind also will be you'll be using that. You will be using your eyes also, again, controlled by the inner self. So at that point in time, the mind we are not running behind the mind. The mind is running behind one's own experience because the Atma is very strong. The Atmic experience is so strong that the mind cannot run wild at that point in time. So that's why Swami will say, Swami's Sankalpa is Vajra, The thought is so powerful that it will right away happen. So there the mind is also functioning, but as an instrument under the control, under the influence of the Atma. That's my answer. Yes, Sister Vani, please go ahead.
Sai Ram. So this Atmanubhuti and Sakshatkara, do they happen at the same time? Because once you realize Atmanubhuti is like yourself realizing that you're Atman, that is self-realization, and you're seeing the God face to face. Like, do they happen at the same time?
It's a other side of the external aspect of the inner experience, sister. See, once you attain that, what you are seeing, what's called Vishwarupa Darshana. You will see the world as God. That is Ishvara. There's this very famous incident which happened in Parthi. One day, Swami said, today I am going to give Vishwarupa Darshanam in the, sports field or something. Pardon?
Airport?
Airport or somewhere. And people all rushed. And Swami didn't appear. So they thought, suddenly Swami will come there and Swami will grow giant, like a giant. Everyone had their own imagination. And then they all came back disappointed. But that was the same thing. I think
But he said, what you're seeing outside is only Vishwarupa Darshana. He said that. What you're witnessing outside in the external world, that is Vishwarupa.
Yes. So I remember, somebody, there's some, I don't know, mention the person's name. He was going in Swami's car and apparently he asked Swami, I want Vishwarupa Darshana. He said, open the window and see.
Let's see outside.
Because until we have Atmanubhava, we cannot see Vishwarupa Darshan. So then once we have Atmanubhava, naturally, Sister Vani, we will be having darshan of the Lord everywhere. So yes, it happens at the same time is my understanding, Saira.
Thank you.
So it's one state, and internally it's Atmanubhuti, externally it's Ishvara Sakshat.
Exactly.
Uncle, what does Badasina mean?
Huh?
Badasina?
Badasina Gani. Until you attain Badasina. Ishvara Sakshatunu Badasina Gani, Atmanubhuti Andina Gani, Manudu Purnudu Karjaludu. That where she is asking.
Yes. Okay, I think so. I just wanted this to, because Swami has told something very, very important. Swami says Mukyam. So I think we should have a good understanding of it, at least intellectually, so that one day it becomes Anubhuti, or we should strive for that. And that's the reason I thought we should dwell on it a bit. I hope you all don't mind.
No, it's quite. I hope that.
Okay. So Swami is saying you all also have a duty to work towards it. It's challenging us. You should become a Bharatiya who has it. I think that's carrot is dangling in front of us. Swami, everything you open, it's talking about mukti. Little while. Aside. Okay, we can continue if it's okay.
Okay.
Unless somebody has something to say.
Man must first grasp the truth. All religious factions and fights will vanish as fast as man grasps the reality. For the name follower of theistic codes of morals can be allotted only to one who has experienced God and realized his glory. Only those who have realized him in their hearts can have the bonds that chain their hearts to the wheel of birth and death broken. Mere platform orations do not indicate awareness of the truth that has to be attained through religion. Theistic faith is based on genuine experience. Once we accept this, self-examination starts, and one is able to measure how far he has journeyed towards the goal or away from it. He will then realize that he is groping in the dark and dragging others into darkness to grope with him. Only then will men give up factional hatreds in the name of religious war on those professing different faiths. Those who revel in religious wars should be asked, have you seen God? Have you become aware of the divine Atma? Or else, what authority have you to decry or deny this name of God? Are you struggling in the darkness, attempting to draw me too into that darkness? Can a blind man lead another blind man along the road? That is an impossible task. Therefore, understand your truth before you defame or deny mine.
Thank you, Kalyani. Auntie, we will read the Telugu, Auntie.
Yeah, okay, sure. మానవుడు మొదట సత్యమును గ్రహించవలెను.
Man should initially, primarily or firstly, understand the truth.
దానిని మనం ఎంత చక్కగా గ్రహింతుమో అంతగా మన మత కలహములను శాఖాభేదములను తరిగిపోవును.
If we understand it very nicely, then all the conflicts related to religion or its branches will be removed.
ఏలైనా ఆస్తిక ధర్మపరుడను పేరు ఈశ్వరానుభూతి నంది ఈశ్వర సాక్షాత్కార సిద్ధిపడిన వారికే మాత్రము చెల్లును.
Why? The reason for this is people who have asked the faith in existence of God, such name is only applicable to people who have Ishvara Anubhuti, experience of Ishvara, and Ishvara Sakshatkara, seeing God directly. Only such people alone, this is applicable.
ఆ పరాత్పరుని సమీప వస్తువులు అన్నిటిలో ఆ పురుషుని దర్శించిన వారికే హృదయ గ్రంథులు విచ్ఛిన్నము కాగలవు.
Only for such a person who has seen or witnessed that such a Purusha or comes near that Purusha, only for such people, all the knots in the heart will be broken. Sari, Auntie?
ఆ పరాత్పరుని సమీప వస్తువులన్నింటిలో,
all the things which are close to that paratpara, that supreme goal.
If you can recognize that ఆ పురుషుని దర్శించే వారికే, those who see that.
So Swami is saying, we should be able to see the Purusha in all those things which are near that Purusha. So which means everything in this world. Okay? Which are near that Purusha. Only for such a person, all the knots in the heart will be broken.
Yeah. ఒట్టి వదురుబూతు మాటలను మత సత్యములు గావు.
Just empty talk about these things will not become the truth of religion.
అనుభూతికి మాత్రమే ఆస్తిక ధర్మనామము చెల్లునని మనము ఎప్పుడు గ్రహింతుమో అప్పుడే మన హృదయ పరిశోధన మునర్చుకొని. Oh, there's a long sentence. Sorry. Oh, long sentence. Let me read it. అనుభూతికి మాత్రమే ఆస్తిక ధర్మనామము చెల్లునని
See, only for experience, this the name believer or astika, I mean one who believes in God, or the dharma of such person can be applicable
ఎప్పుడు గ్రహింతుమో
when we understand that, whenever we understand, come to that understanding,
అప్పుడు మాత్రమే అప్పుడే మన హృదయ పరిశోధన నడుచుకొని
only then the inquiry of our heart will take place.
మత సత్యానుభూతి దశ మత సత్యానుభూతి దశ మనం ఎంత దూరం సాగినది కనుగొనగలుగుదుము.
Only then we will be able to understand to what extent have we progressed in the experiencing of the religion.
మనము చీకటిలో చిక్కి కన్నులు గానక తడుపులు ఉన్నామనియు.
See, we are caught in darkness and we are unable to see anything, and we are fumbling or
తడుపులాడు. We are confused.
తడుమార్రం in Tamil.
తడుమారదు. ఆ చీకటిలోనికి ఇతరులను కూడా తీసుకొని వచ్చి
we take others also into that darkness.
వారు కూడా తడుపులాడునట్లు
they are also fumbling their ways.
వనర్చుచున్నామనియు మనం అప్పుడు గ్రహింతుము.
Then we will understand. That's what we are doing to ourselves and others. We are taking everyone to the darkness and drifting, or we are fumbling.
Yeah. Okay. అప్పటికి గాని మతభేదములు పెట్టుకొనుటయు కలహించుటయు యుద్ధములో నడుచుటయు మనము మానుకొనము. అప్పటికి గాని, ఈవెన్ దెన్ కదా,
even then there are differences of religion, holding on to differences of religious differences, or fighting over them, or taking warring for them.
మనము మానుకొనము.
It's okay. Until then, we will not be able to overcome or give up the differences of religion or fighting over them.
I think
Appatiki Gani means until that time, Santi. That's the way I answer. Until we do have that grahin, that understanding, we will not be able to overcome, or we will not be able to
overcome the differences.
We will not be able to give up religious differences, fighting about them or arguing about them or something like that. Appatiki Gani, anda varaikum.
మీరు మత కలహ ప్రారంభము చేయు వారిని ఈ విధముగా ప్రశ్నించుడు.
So Swami is giving us some instructions. If anyone causes any difficulty in causes such problems about religious differences, ask them these questions.
నీవు భగవంతుని చూచితివా?
Have you seen God? Yes, Sai Satish.
And now for the earlier sentence, can we say that though we are grappling in the darkness, still we will not let go of those things and keep arguing? That is another way to look at it.
Yes, exactly, Sai Satish.
No, but మనము
Appatiki, that's he has gone through Appatiki Gani.
1 minute. మనము చీకటిలో చిక్కి కన్నులు గానక తడుపులు ఆడుచున్నామనియు, ఆ చీకటిలోనికి ఇతరులను కూడా తీసుకొని వచ్చి వారు కూడా తడుపునాట్లు ఆడునట్లు వనర్చుచున్నామనియు మనం అప్పుడు గ్రహింతుము. Then we will understand
we are also caught in this darkness. We are bringing others also into that darkness. When we do the inquiry of our own self, our own heart, that's the previous sentence. Okay.
Yeah.
Until then, appatiki gani, until then, we will not be able to give up matabedhamu, differences of religion,
కలహించుట,
fighting over them, or yuddhamu. So that means waging wars. Manu konamu, that we will not be able to give up.
We will not be able to give. Then only men.
Okay, so
okay. be asked, మీరు మత కలహ ప్రారంభ చేయు వారిని ఈ విధముగా ప్రశ్నించుడు.
So anyone who is fighting over religious differences, ask these questions.
నీవు భగవంతుని చూచితివా?
Have you seen God?
ఆత్మను దర్శించితివా?
Have you have you witnessed or have you experienced Atman?
లేనిచో ఈశ్వర నామమును బోధింప నీకెట్టి అధికారం ఉన్నది?
So otherwise, how do you have the authority to teach about God's name?
చీకట్లో చిక్కి తడుపులాడు నీవు నన్ను కూడా అదే చీకట్లోకి లాగుచున్నావా?
Are you pulling me also into the darkness in which you are struggling?
గ్రుడ్డివాడు మరొక గ్రుడ్డివానికి దారి చూపగలడా?
Can a blind person show the way to another blind person?
అసంభవము కాన మొదట నీ సత్యాన్ని నీవు కనుగొనమని చెప్పవచ్చును.
This is not possible. So first of all, understand your own truth.
Okay.
So this Swami is after telling what a person should experience. Now he is going. Now we can sort of understand what Swami is saying because we have thoroughly discussed the previous paragraph. Swami is basically again impressing. If you want to tell God, for example, my understanding, if we say Swami is omnipresent, is that our experience?
Yeah.
I think that's the question we have to ask. Do we experience that? Or is it just in our head? Or we are just parroting? I think that's the sense Swami is giving. I'll stop here. I will open it up for discussion. Anyone can share your thoughts, please. Saira.
Here, that wheel of birth, death, broken, he said. Actually, Hriday Grantham means the ignorance. First step is ignorance. Because of ignorance, we have got desires.
Yes.
When desires have to be fulfilled, we action. So these three are called Hriday Granthi, according to Vedanta.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What was it? Ignorance?
I think in the next chapter, I think Swami is touching on them. But Auntie has covered all the three things which cause, I think chapter 7 is starting off with that.
Yeah.
But I happen to read it.
Yeah. Okay. Ignorance. Because of ignorance, we have several desires. To satisfy those desires, we do actions. Then it will take us to the punyam and papam of those actions will bring us to the cycle of birth and death.
Hriday Granthi. Granthi means they are like knots.
Knots, K-N-O-T-S, knots.
K-N-O-T-S. We have to break them. Unentangle ourselves from those knots. Sairam, Sister Aruna.
Brother Sairam, I'm trying to get some clarification on the second paragraph. Say that, thesis as the faith based on the genuine experience. That's real. That's clear. But the next sentence, once we accept this and the self-examination starts and one is able to measure how far he has journeyed towards the goal or away from it. Is that the way Swami is saying? Somebody can...
Yes, Swami says, Anubhutik matrame ఆస్కి ధర్మమును చెల్లెను ఎప్పుడు గ్రహింతుము అప్పుడే మన హృదయ పరిశోధన మొరచుకొని.
Yes.
We have to examine our heart.
To say how far we have come.
Yes, so when we examine our heart, we will know Mata Satyanubhuti Dasa. That means how much we have progressed in experiencing the religion will be an enta duramu saginadi. How far it has progressed will be clear to us.
Mata Satyanubhuti means?
Mata is religion, Satya, truth, Anubhuti, experiencing.
The truth of the religion?
Yes.
Right.
So,
Brother, my
yes.
question is, can you ask us a person how far you have journeyed towards?
You have to ask yourself, sister.
It's asking from ourselves.
So
for that, we have to know where the goal is. Goal is to realize ourselves, right? That is the goal, right? To see that we are Atma. And if you realize that, then there's no differentiate. You will not see. You will not see any problem in the religion.
So, sister, Swami is saying before this sentence, the sentence says, we should have the experience of Ishvara,
Yes.
and then everything which is closer to this Ishvara, we should be able to see Ishvara. So that means in everything in this world we see, are we able to see Ishvara? So what is the closest is ourselves. So are we able to experience Ishvara there? So once we experience Ishvara, are we able to see Ishvara everywhere else? So are we able to do that? That has to be.
Okay, that's a journey. We can measure it in that sense. Are we close or still we have to progress?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good.
See,
Thank you.
something happens to, it's my understanding, sister. Something happens in our life. We are troubled. We are crying. We are worried. We are afraid. And we should accept that that is our state. We should know what we are doing and why we are doing, because we give importance to a body. We importance to give things in the world. We don't see God. If we see God, as Sai Sati said, we will be joyful. So that once we know that is our experience of our heart, then we know we have not progressed not too far.
So the journey that we can measure when we have no joy, no worries or no trouble,
No sorrow,
no
no sorrow,
sorrow,
no
then
sadness, no heavy heart. then we will win.
yes, yes.
But we will tell, oh, it is only because of love we are crying. Because somebody else suffering. All this, tricks.
Yeah. So if we are not affected by any kind of emotional way of thing, that means we have taken everything is a God will, then we are progressing in that sense. Okay, great. Thanks.
That's my understanding, but I maybe, others can also share.
So such a person, when they see someone suffering, they will also be in joy.
Yes. Swami is always, people will say, Swami, somebody died. Swami says, Chala Santosha.
There he was referring to the Atman, not the body.
Yeah.
Body goes. So he said, okay, Atma is relieved now.
Yes, exactly. Promotion.
Promotion for the Atma to leave that body, which has affecting him.
One granthi has broken.
Broken. Yeah.
Andy, mentally we know, but sometimes emotionally it's
Yeah.
still a human form and has some emotional things, right? Other than that, it's not. It won't take you to worry or constantly thinking about it. But it's at that point of time, it's
We have forgotten.
not forgotten. I don't know how to explain that. Okay, thank you.
Swami is already told. So many times you are forgetting. It's such a sad state of affairs.
So,
previous
Kalyani,
paragraph.
you are not anyone die. That's what brother is trying to tell us, right? Anyone die, you cannot cry. So that's and if anyone like no happiness or sadness, so that's so how we have to live. We have to take
That's called,
everything.
sister, that's called Atmanubhuti.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
So I think in one study circle you were talking about how when Swami cried when Sai Gita passed away was only because of her love or that kind of. So was the joy? He was still tears of joy. He was still.
Yes.
Brother Saira, when Sai Gita died, Swami, you can see Swami's one of the picture, his tears are coming, right?
Yes, yes.
So, but he's not affected. But that's the body.
Okay.
I'm trying to.
Tell, sister, tell.
What is that Swami shows with his tears there? I
But-
have seen those
No,
pictures.
but
right?
you seem to know. Just please tell. See, the whole problem is
Yeah.
we think everyone else is behaving like us. Okay, so see, when Swami is moved by the love of a devotee,
Yeah.
not this body has died. So it's tears of joy. He was not sad. Oh, when will I see Sai Gita? Why did it
So
die?
it's a tears of joy. Okay. So every time. Okay. Okay.
Or compassion also can give. Compassion.
Yes, compassion will give, right?
But compassion is different. But
It's an attachment you are taking. No, compassion will give, no?
compassion will give. So compassion
Yeah.
means Swami will say all these are so ignorant and they are struggling. That's compassion. That's tears of love. Okay, or joy.
Yeah, tears of love.
Okay,
That happens during the people who have passed away. That tears of love, right?
but not because of the body. Very important.
Yes.
Okay, the Atman is caught, if a child is not studying or something like that, you feel sad the child is unable to study, unable to grasp something. That's also a type of compassion. But the most important thing is there should not be bodily attachment. Okay, the Sai Gita crying has become not only that, there are so many videos in the latter part of Swami's life. Swami was very, very emotional.
Emotional.
The thing is, none of those emotions are negative emotions. They are, the body was, overcome with that. See, Sai Gita will see Swami and cry, when Swami is not there. But that is a viraha, separation. That also has, but not a bodily separation. This, I think, very, very important. Swami, we should not ascribe to Swami our emotions. That's all. Like, Swami is driving in Benz. Oh, I also love Benz. Swami also must be loving Benz cars, things like that. Some devotee he will drive and he will say it's a very nice car. But the thing is, how they attach, with that detachment is the most important thing. And we should not ascribe our emotions to God. I think that we covered in Sathya Vahini, but anyway, I will come back.
Well, when somebody is suffering and in pain, and then you feel their emotion, that's only a sign of weakness, or because we're not established in.
Yes, it is a sign of weakness because you won't be able to help the person. See, if somebody is suffering, if we all sit next to the person and cry, it doesn't help anyone. Okay, but the compassion will move us to action so that that person is removed from the suffering. That's proper reaction for compassion. Compassion should not turn into sympathetic sorrow.
So no sympathetic way of looking at anything.
Empathy.
No attachment. With those, taking out those ones, and if your tears are for love, compassion, and things, so on a positive side of it, without thinking. That is okay. I got it. Thank you, Sarah.
This Sairam, Arun.
Yes, Auntie.
See this sentence. So he has journeyed, how far he has journeyed towards the goal, that he will know. He will then realize that he is groping in the dark and dragging others also into darkness to grope with him. Only then will men give up factional hatreds in the name of religious wars on those professing their different faiths. That means a man has to realize that he is groping in the dark. And he must realize that he is dragging others also in the same way. So only then he will give up factional hatreds. That's what Swami is saying here.
In the translation, Auntie, slightly, in the original Telugu, Swami has told it in a slightly different way, which is that Atti,
ఒక నిమిషం.
Ganati,
అనుభూతికి మాత్రమే ఆస్తిక ధర్మ నామము చెల్లునని మనము ఎప్పుడు గ్రహింతుమో, దట్ మీన్స్ ఓన్లీ అనుభూతికి మాత్రమే ఆస్తిక ధర్మనామము. To call oneself as astikas, he must have had this anubhuti. Isn't that? That's the sentence meaning. When we realize that, appude mana hridaya parishodhana manarchukoni, we have to start inquiring into ourselves. Mata satyanubhuti desa manam enta duramu saginadi kanugona galugudumu. This sentence.
Auntie, that translation which you read is to Hridaya Granthi. Only those who have realized him in the heart can have the bonds, the chain, the hearts to the wheel of birth and death.
I'm reading from the next paragraph, Arun.
Okay.
He is groping in the dark and dragging others into darkness.
Okay. Only then, okay.
Only then men will give up factional hatreds in the name of religious war on those professing.
Yeah, so that's why I said Swami is using it slightly different. Appati Gani, and Swami says Manu Konamu.
Will not give up.
Yes, until then.
Then here it is only then men will give up, he says.
I know it's so Swami says until, see, in the translation, if it has to be identical, instead of only then, Swami says until then men will not give up factional hatreds in the name.
At the badal, it is written here, men will give up.
Yeah, so Swami has written in a negative sense, until then you will not
give up.
Here only then they will give up. That's that's why I said Swami put it in a slightly negative sense. Until then you will not be able to give up. Is the way Telugu is written. In English it's only then.
అనుభూతికి మాత్రమే ఆస్తిక ధర్మనామము చెల్లునని మనము ఎప్పుడు గ్రహింతుమో, అప్పుడే మన హృదయ పరిశోధన మనర్చుకొని మత సత్యానుభూతి దశ మన ఎంత దూరం సాగినది కనుగొనగలుదుము.
Yes. Then
we will be able to understand how far we have progressed in the Satyanubhuti.
Yeah, so into the darkness group, only then man. In translation, it's not exactly line by line, Auntie. That's a See, he will then realize, Grahintumu, that he is groping in the dark, all that. Okay. Then appati gani mata bedamulu pettukonutayu, kalakinchutayu, yuddhamu lonarchurayu, manamu manu konamu. Until then, we will not give up the difference of religion, fighting. And so in Telugu, that's in Telugu. In English, it says, only then will men give up factional hatreds in the name of religious wars or professing different faiths.
Okay.
Okay. In Telugu, Swami says, until then, you will not give up. In English, they're saying, only then you will give up, only after you attain that.
Okay. In the positive way he is giving.
Exactly.
Negative way Swami is explaining.
But the whole thing is, until we come to the realization, we will, we are in dark.
Will not give up, will not.
We are in dark and we are bringing others also into darkness.
The word Astika Dharma Parudanu means
Astika Dharma means the Dharma of faith in God. Parudu means such people.
The people who have
person who is of the Astika Dharma. Who, person who is a believer in God.
Believer in God. Astika Dharma Parudu. Yeah.
Astika Dharma Parudu means one who has faith in God. The one who has the Dharma of faith in God.
Oh.
Only when he has realized the Ishwaranubhuti and Ishwara Sakshatkara, then that name will apply to only that person who has got this Ishvaranubhuti and Ishwar Sakshatkar.
It's the same thing. Swami said, who is Bharatiya? Who has this? The Swami said, believer in God is someone who has had Atmanubhuti. Until then, they are not qualified to call themselves believers in God.
Astika Prabu or Bharatiya.
Yes. Very high bar, Swami has said.
Very, very high bar.
Actually, in Sandhya Nivarani, I think Swami says, until you believe that you have not started spirituality. I think that was also very depressing for many. But
what is the brother say? Say it again, please. What did you say?
Swami says in Sandhya Nivarani, until you come to the realization you are Atman, you are not even started your spiritual journey.
That is hurtful.
You start your spiritual journey to realize Atma.
No.
Swami says Atma, you realize you are an Atman to start the journey.
Yes, at start, the journey starts when you know that you are not the body, you are not the mind. Only then the spiritual journey starts.
Oh, good to know.
Oh, that makes sense as well. Yeah.
Yes, I said this.
No, it is easier to get visa and a passport to US. To get visa and passport to be Bharatiya is looking like impossible.
And then next line says, only for such a person who has witnessed that Purusha or things that come near that Purusha?
Yes. Swami says, yeah. So the thing is, it's very tricky, Swami, What is near God? Everything is near God. Okay, we should see everything as near God. So that's the ultimate. For example, if you see anything in the world, you say, oh, that belongs to the Lord. That means it's close to the Lord.
Brother, we see as a part of him. So why near again, we are saying?
So is it an experiential thing, sister? Is it an
The
experience?
near can be experienced than the part of the Lord, right?
You said you see everything as part. That is.
Than that, you can see, you can feel it near. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because everything is tatastha.
Okay.
Everything is close to God. Yes, Sister Shiva.
So I'm just going back to the statement when I said it's hurtful, but it does make sense. You can't start your spiritual journey until you. No, it is. So I'm just thinking out loud. So whenever we talk about God or in study circle, until we talk about this Atmic principle, that's incomplete. We can't. So every time we talk, just not or this and that, it has to be at that level all the time.
Yes, it is like, we are going somewhere. We have to get into the car and drive. If you have not gotten into the car, have our journey started? So until you get into the Atma, which is a spirit, Adhyatma means you have to be getting into the car of Atma. And only then that journey starts.
Yeah, I don't know if Swami said this, but I read that until you talk about Atma, you're just watering the leaves or, not the roots.
Yes.
Right? Swami said that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So,
okay, so
brother, whoever coming, taking a step towards to understand the Atmic principle or to see that, and that, what is that called then, if it's not spirituality?
We are looking at the car from outside.
Thank you, Sister Vani.
What is that, please? Vani, repeat. Sister Vani, can you say it again, please?
No, I was saying we are looking at the car from outside. We didn't even get into the car.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, once you realize
No. Can you come up with analogy? Because we are looking outside, right? So what is that we are trying to understand?
Sister, you're going near the car, so there's some chance that you date him. That's what Sister Vani is saying. You have come near the car or going towards the car. which is the start.
Okay, going
Yeah,
towards the car.
Yeah,
Okay.
you packed your bags, you are trying to go towards the car. You're not getting in, you are turning around and telling bye to everyone.
Yeah, not trying to get in. Okay. So once
So
you get in,
as soon as you are
spirituality.
saying bye,
Okay.
you are not yet in the car.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So once you realize you're Atman, what journey then do you have to make? Like then you're already
Saloke Samipya Sarupe Sayaj.
Sahaja.
Sayaj is ultimate.
So thereafter only the spiritual journey start, the
Yes.
relationship with the Lord start.
Yes.
Until that time, we are like just okay.
You know what? You just brought me back to zero now. I mean, all these years, seriously, it looks like I'm back to like zero.
Yeah.
Sister, it is good to know that we are zero. When we don't know we are zero, that's a bigger problem.
Oh, Lord.
Only then we'll know the hero. We are zeros. Heroes. We have to start the journey.
Yeah. Otherwise, we will be imagining that we are driving. Then that is the worst thing.
That's what I was thinking.
The car is still sitting in the garage, but we are thinking we are traveling far. Okay,
All
so I don't
imagination.
Ramana, mortgage rates are high. That's one thing. But anyway, other than that, I was just going to say, I think from Bharatiya perspective, right? I think it comes from Bharata. So literally, it means in one sense the sarupya that he has. We should essence that kind of an experience to literally say we are Bharatiya, right? If you see, you should have at least got to a level of somewhere on the Salokya Samipya part to essence and say that we are Bharatiya. So in terms of setting that
So I
benchmark,
think, I think, Sai Satyesh, the first step in my view is recognizing that we are Atman. Then the journey is to see the identity of the Atman with the Paramatman is a journey. So even to identify that we are an Atman is the first step. And from there, the journey is to fully, understand or experience or realize that the small I, which Atman, is the big Atman.
and in that case, thanks, Anna. I'm just saying when you say identify, it should not be a mental exercise, right? It should be a physical experience which should tell that I am it's no longer the small I, it's the capital. Yeah.
I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. See, first we had to get rid of that. Then we know that we are an individual separate Atman. We are still in Dvaita Bhava.
Yes,
And,
Anna.
and then the journey, then only the sa starts.
Okay.
Thanks.
4:31.
Oh, 4:30. Oh, the time just flew. Sorry, we spend a lot of time, but I think it was very, very important that we, have full grasp. As Sister Shivani said, coming to the realization we are zero is the first step. Otherwise, we think we have reached almost 100% when we are actually sitting in the place where we are. So I think that's all Swami. And Swami purposely has put it so that our journey becomes a bit more meaningful and purposeful. And I think that's Swami's compassion. Swami must be crying looking at us, trying tears of joy, sister, because at least these have grasped that. When we identify the problem, is half the job is done. I think that's my understanding. Anyway, thanks for the wonderful discussion. At least I found it wonderful. We will meet again next week. Okay, Sairam everyone. We'll close with Samastaloka.
Thank you, Saya.
Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.